Hello, I'm Sketches.n.Scrubs. Thank you for tuning into this video. I make weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and vlogs. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel so that you can catch the weekly videos. In this video today, we're going to be going through how to make this simple loose bouquet painting, and then if you also want to, I'll also show you how to add on ink to just give it a little bit more character. This can be used to make wonderful Mother's Day cards or birthday cards for your loved ones. Things that you'll need is watercolour paint, watercolour paper, watercolour paintbrush, water, and then some fineliner or a pen. And I'll list everything down below as well as where you can get it. I usually start off by making roses, so I make a small dot in the centre and then small C-like shapes to represent the petals, using less paint and more water as I go further out so that it fades out. And that's what I did for the two roses. After that point, I wanted to make a simple 3-petal flower, or 4-petal rather, but it appears to be 3-petal because of the angle, so it's kind of facing towards the right. And again, it's very loose, it doesn't have to be, perfect. We'll go back on them to add details later. While it's still wet, I go back and add a bit more paint, just a bit darker, to add a bit more contrast to the flowers. So in specifically areas where there'll be shadows or the center of the flowers that tend to be darker. And after putting it in, I kind of use the body of the brush to make it a bit bigger so it's not as harsh, and so that it kind of blends into the flower. Again, the beauty of these flowers is that they're very loose, they're very expressive, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. At this point, I also decide that I want to have my colour theme, or I decided beforehand my colour theme was going to be pinks and yellows. So I actually added a bit of yellow to the 4-petal flower on the right, and now I'm going to do a peony. So to paint the peony, I essentially paint the stamen first, so the center of the flower first, and then do C-shaped strokes for the top and oval shaped petals for the bottom, and then I go over it with, again, picking up a darker pink to add more contrast. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like me to create a video where I go through how to make each individual flower in more detail. Kind of thought that it would be nice to show you guys a speed painting of me making a bouquet in this instance, but obviously I can go through it more slowly if people are interested. So at the moment what you're seeing me do is just put again more details with a darker colour into the flowers, and this step is really optional for you guys, you don't have to do it. I tend to like my flowers with a bit more detail, but obviously if you prefer a looser style then you wouldn't have to go back and add all this contrast with the colours. I also thought that I would use this opportunity to discuss art block. I'm a hobby artist, so I don't make a living from my art, but I did find that I really enjoyed it when I picked it up again during the lockdown in 2020. But of late, or more recently, I found that actually I was going through an art block, so I thought that I would combine the things that I found useful and put it in this video for you guys, and hopefully they will help you as well should you ever go through this. So I saw quite a few things where they said that they weren't sure if there's such a thing as an art block, and I think that there is. I think sometimes people can get tired of their art, or can have a lack of inspiration, or be demotivated by their skills, or just not know what to create, and that creates a barrier from them actually sitting down and creating things or enjoying what they're creating. So as I paint the leaves and maybe go into inking, I'll give tips on what works for me and what kind of got me out of it. Just to let you know, in doing the leaves I use the body of the brush to actually create it. So as you can see, I'm kind of slanting the brush. There are a number of ways that you can paint leaves. You could either draw the outline and then paint it in, or you could do what I'm doing, which is using the actual leaf, the actual brush, to just create that shape. But now going through how to tackle art block. So there are a number of different ways, and I think it's better to have an array of options so that you can try whatever works for you. But the first thing that I wanted to say is that it can happen, it's not permanent, and that you shouldn't panic. So it will go away, it's not going to ruin your art forever. So I find that if the issue that you're having is a lack of inspiration or a lack of ideas, a good way to kind of overcome that is to join a challenge, for example on Instagram or on YouTube, or one of these big challenges like Inktober. Just trying something with a community can be super inspiring and can give you, you can draw inspiration from other people that are doing something similar, and it often pushes you out of your comfort zone because it's created and thought of by somebody else. Another thing that can help is creating preemptively creating a list of things that inspire you. So for me, for example, I have an inspiration folder where I will put images that I really like, or pictures that I want to try painting one day. Just putting it all in one place, so that if there is a time where I don't really have much inspiration or I don't know what to draw, I can go back, look in that folder and just pick something that brings back some sort of happy memory, or that I really wanted to try at some point. Just to go back to the painting, once I'm happy that I've put in enough leaves, it's time to ink, and I tend to use the Unipin Fineliners for this, but you can use any pen that you have. I use the thinner pen, so either 0.2, 0.1, to do the finer details inside the florals, as I'm doing here with the peony, just roughly following the outline of each petal, again making sure that it's not perfect, to just get the rough idea of the petal. And what I will do with the 0.8 or the bigger one, sometimes I use 0.8 and 0.5, is to go outside the actual outline of the flowers so that they can pop. Another way to stay inspired is to create a jar full of random things that I should paint, just to challenge myself. I like drawing florals, I like urban sketching, I like doing a lot of things, but I thought I would put in random challenges or random items in here to practice. If it's a frustration because of lack of skill, or perhaps you want to do something and it doesn't turn out the way that you want, the key thing is to keep practicing. There will be a change, but unfortunately it does take time. A way that can be helpful is perhaps trying following tutorials, but also remembering that comparison is the thief of joy. So when you're trying tutorials, it's because you want to gain new techniques and you want to improve, because you yourself will, you're an individual, your art will be individual. So don't look at it and kind of be like, oh, but mine isn't perfect like theirs. Just think about what you want to get from that tutorial. And then the final thing can be because of fatigue, so just being tired or overwhelmed by something else going on in life, like work or other responsibilities, etc. And I tend to find that the best way to overcome this hurdle is to really just take care of yourself physically and mentally. So rest when you need to rest, take care of your body, exercise, eat well, and then do things that make you feel better. Quite often it's not by force that you have to create something, so just take time to create yourself and put yourself in a better mental and physical state, so that when you do feel inspired to do so, you can. So I hope that you found those tips helpful. Part of the reason that I was inspired to do this with this video is because essentially these simple loose florals are just a great way for me to get out of art block. They are simple to do, you can create beautiful results, they're quick to do, and they are relatively low pressure because you can't really go wrong with them. There might be things that you want to try to do differently next time, but you won't ruin your piece because it's abstract and it's beautiful. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can catch the weekly videos. I tend to find that everyone is quite unique in the way that they ink. This is an insert of how I tend to do my line work and my line florals, and I kind of keep that when doing the shading in these florals. So again, having lines and dots where the shadows would be, and then going over the flowers with a thicker fine liner on the outside. Let me know in the comments if you prefer the completely loose florals without ink, or if you prefer the floral pattern with the inks. And let me know if there are any tips for art block or burnout that I haven't mentioned that you found actually worked, because as I say, the more things you have to try, the more likely it is that you'll be able to get yourself out of it. But essentially this is the final piece. It's still, I find, very delicate and very beautiful, and it has its own kind of unique style to it. I think it'd make a wonderful Mother's Day card or birthday card, and it doesn't take very long to do. This is the final piece. Let me know down below whether you prefer it with ink or without ink, If you haven't already subscribed, please do so that you can catch my weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and vlogs. And feel free to get in touch on Instagram at Sketches.n.Scrubs. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate all the support and I read all the comments and I'm incredibly grateful. All the best. Bye.